miserable day. Damp and dank and horrible. Yeah. There are some days I don't mind just being across the road from where I live. There are some days I think, really it's such a lot of effort to cross the road. I wish I had the workshop in my garage. Don't have a garage. So, following the relative success of my little end grain side table, I was reminded that I needed to make a little bathroom shelf for my son as well, so that's what I'm going to do today, in the same sort of style, end grain birch ply, with a little bit of Wenge if I can find it. If I've got enough, we'll just thread that together quickly. It's just a slab basically with a couple of battens at either end, and hopefully I'll be able to fit that himself. We'll see. I've dug out some birch ply scraps and I'm cutting them to length on the MFT. And then I've put a little jig together so I can rip them all to width. I only have enough checkerboard detailing for a single strip, so I'm adding a few little pieces to the offcut to make up the second full length. As you'd expect, it bows under clamping, so I'm adding a couple of extra clamps to keep it snugged down to the MFT surface. Once dry, I can trim it down, extending my jig slightly to make sure it doesn't creep away. Then balancing the rail on offcuts to make that tricky second cut. Then it's onto the Wenge, and I'm adding a couple of thin strips on this to make up for the lack of checkerboard detailing. And I'm running those skinny strips through the thicknesser, which incidentally is performing flawlessly. Then it's onto the glue up, and I'm building this up in sections in the usual way, pinning it between courses to make sure it doesn't get too squirrely under clamping. I've cut the final section on each side on the bandsaw, and I'm gluing these up in the usual way with a couple of pins just to keep things together under clamping. Yeah, I think it would be prudent to clamp that bench down, don't you? So that's what I'll do, and then we can carry on with a bit of hand planing.
And as surely as night follows day, after planing comes sanding. I'm trying out some new abrasives at the moment, and so far it's looking really nice, and it's a fraction of the price of my favourite granite. Keep you posted. I've clipped the very edge of one side of the shelf with a sanding pad, and it's just split away the plywood layers slightly. So I'm going to squeeze a little bit of glue in there, clamp it up, and see if we can make a decent repair. That's dried pretty nicely, so I can tidy that up with a hand sanding pad. And then trim that edge back with a track saw. Yeah, I'll get used to that depth of cut soon, I'm sure. So there we are, a bit of serious sanding later, and that's our little shelf all done, ready for a coat of oil. What I've done with the sides is I've made these little, the last sort of strip of 12mm, I've cut it in half, and this will go on the wall, and that will just drop onto it. And I've put a little, upside down L shape in the end there, so that you don't see that from the front. So yeah, that will just go onto the wall and sit flush. I've used that technique with desks when I'm using a sort of a flat slab for a desktop. It means you don't see battens on the wall underneath it, which is quite neat. And then I'm going to finish this off with an oil that I've just tried recently. It's called Heidelberg Prolignum. It's a bit like Osmo, it's a hard wax oil, but it goes on, dries faster, dries in about 5 hours. And so far looks really good. So keep you posted on that. Anyway, haven't used it enough yet to give it a full recommendation, but so far it's working out really nicely. That's kind of it though for this week's video. That's all there was to it really. Thanks for watching. Thanks as always for your support. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and have a fantastic Christmas too. I'll see you next time. Yeah, we'll do a end of year roundup for next week's video. But that's it for this one. Have a lovely family Christmas, or whatever celebration you celebrate at this time of year, and I'll see you afterwards. All right, take care.